So you're looking to become an assistant professor in a West Bengal government-aided college? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to unpack the official advertisement that's number 1 of 2026 from the West Bengal College Service Commission. Look, my job here is pretty straightforward. We're going to cut through all the dense official language and make every single detail easy to understand so you can apply feeling totally confident. Let's get right into it. And there you have it. This is the official notice we're talking about. Just so you know, every single thing we're going to cover today is pulled straight from this document. So you can relax knowing you're getting the most accurate info possible, right from the horse's mouth. Okay, first things first, let's talk dates. These are the ones you absolutely positively cannot miss. The online application portal opens up on February 26th, and it slams shut right at 11:59 p.m. on April 15th, 2026. Seriously, go put that in your calendar right now. And notice that cutoff for your age calculation is January 1st. That's a key date for figuring out if you're eligible. The big takeaway, do not wait until the last minute on this. So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to tackle the biggest question of all. Are you eligible? Then we'll get into all the essential numbers, the dates, the age limits, and the fees. After that, we'll walk you through the entire application and selection journey. And we'll wrap things up with a super handy document checklist so you're totally prepared. Let's kick things off with eligibility. All right, Section 1, are you eligible? This is the big one, the absolute foundation of your application. Let's break down what the commission is really looking for. When you really get down to it, eligibility hangs on 2 main things. Pillar number 1, you need a master's degree in a relevant subject, and you need to have at least 55% marks. And pillar number 2, you have to have cleared either the National Eligibility Test, that's NET, or a state-level test like SLET or SET. For almost everyone, these 2 are non-negotiable. But hold on, that 55% rule, it's not totally rigid for everybody. The Commission offers a 5% relaxation, which brings that requirement down to a neat 50%. This is available for candidates from SC, ST, and non-creamy layer OBC categories, and also for differently abled applicants. And there's even a special note in there for PhD holders who finished their master's way back before September 1991.
Now, this is a question that pops up all the time. What if you've got the master's degree with the right marks, but you just haven't cleared the NET or SET exams? So, is there a loophole? Well, kind of. The answer is yes, but it's only for a very specific group of candidates. Let's see who gets a pass.
Okay, so this slide breaks it down perfectly. There are basically 2 different paths for PhD holders to get that exemption. The really important date to remember is July 11th, 2009. If you registered for your PhD after that date, you're exempt, plain and simple, as long as your degree followed the 2009 or 2016 UGC regulations. But if you registered before that date, you've got a bit more work to do. You need to meet 5 very specific conditions. Let's look at those now. So if you're one of those pre-2009 PhD folks, listen up. This is your 5-point checklist, and it is crucial. Your university has to give you a certificate that confirms every single one of these points, that your degree was done in regular mode, your thesis was checked by at least 2 external examiners, you had an open viva, and that you published 2 research papers and gave 2 conference presentations. And let me be super clear. It's not pick and choose. You have to meet every single one of these 5 conditions. Okay, great. Let's move on to Section 2. We've talked eligibility. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the key dates, age limits, and of course, the fees. These are the numbers you absolutely need to know. So what's the magic number for age? It's 40. Simple as that. You can't be over 40 years old as of January 1st, 2026. But just like with the marks, there are some pretty important exceptions to this rule. Now, like with the marks, that age limit isn't totally set in stone. Here's how you can get some breathing room. For SC and ST candidates, you get an extra 5 years. For OBC non-creamy lawyer folks, it's 3 years. And differently abled candidates get a really significant 10-year relaxation. And hey, if you're currently a state-aided college teacher or SACT, pay attention. Your upper age limit gets a nice bump up to 47.
All right, let's talk money. How much is this going to cost? For general category candidates, the application fee is set at 2,500 rupees.
And if you're a candidate in one of the reserved categories like SC, ST, OBC, EWS, or you're differently abled, that fee gets cut right in half, down to 1,250 rupees. Okay, I really need you to pay attention to this part. It's a huge warning. Before you even think about hitting that pay button, please double-check everything. Triple-check everything. Your eligibility, your form, all of it. The official notice couldn't be clearer. Once you pay that fee, it is gone. It's non-refundable for any reason, no exceptions. And here's a pro tip that could save you a major headache. All those benefits we just talked about, the relaxations for marks, age, even the lower fee, they're only for candidates who are from West Bengal. Basically, if you're an SC, ST, or OBC candidate, but you're not from West Bengal, for the purposes of this application, you're treated as a general candidate. Super important to remember that. All right, on to Section 3. Let's talk about the process itself. You've sorted your eligibility, you've paid up, you've hit submit. So, what happens now? Let's map out the journey from submission to success. The whole journey from the moment you apply to getting that appointment letter really breaks down into these 4 steps. It all starts with you submitting your application online. Then, if you're eligible, you'll get the call for an interview. How you do in that interview determines where you land on the final merit panel, and if you make that list, you'll be invited to counseling to pick your college. So, the official name for this whole final stage is the Merit Cum Preference System. I know, it sounds super complicated and official, but trust me, it's not. It really just boils down to this. Your rank on that merit list determines the order in which you get to choose from the available colleges. The better you rank, the more choices you get. Simple. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most practical, section of all, your document checklist. Because when that interview call finally comes, the last thing you want is to be scrambling. Let's make sure you've got all your ducks in a row. All right, grab a pen, because we're going to run through the checklist of all the self-attested photocopies you need to have ready. You need your age proof certificate, all of your qualification certificates and mark sheets, your category certificate if you're using a reservation, any experience certificates you have, and of course, that special PhD compliance certificate if you're using it to skip the NET requirement. And finally, don't forget to bring a printout of the online application form you submitted. And look, I'm going to say this one more time because it is so important. Along with all those photocopies, you absolutely must bring the original documents with you to the interview. They will be verified. If you don't have an original document to show them, they can just cancel your application right there on the spot. Don't let that happen. So we've covered a ton of ground here. After all that, the real question is pretty simple, right? Are you ready to take that next big step in your academic career? This really is a fantastic opportunity, and now you have all the info you need to go after it. And there you go. The only thing left to do is head over to www.webbsconline.in and get that application started. Just keep that final deadline in mind, 11:59 p.m. on April 15th, 2026. We really hope this breakdown helped. Best of luck.